Georgia Ford is not with us today because she just actually got pulled into the federal court trial of the 3 officers who have now been placed on trial for the killing or rather, these are civil rights charges on the federal level for the killing of it's so many. No, I was going to say Ahmaud Arbery, right? That's the problem. It's like, without the paper right in front of me, it's like, which black man are we talking about? But George Floyd in this case. And that's where Georgia Ford is this morning. And of course, these are the federal charges. So this is not actually these are not on the state level. These are charges on the civil rights violations. These are charges that really these men had a responsibility to intervene. That's kind of the question at the end of the day, that their lack of intervention and their commitment to what they're supposed to be doing, protecting and serving, and actually, Brother Mac, if I could just come back a little step further backwards and really ask that question. What responsibility do these people who carry a badge and say that they are here to protect and serve, do they even have a responsibility to look at a person in distress and intervene? Like when it's somebody who's on your team that's doing a bad thing, do police officers have a requirement? I don't know if that's even the question that's going to be at play in this court. But for me, that's the essential question.
Well, without question, Ben, and the simple way to look at that is this. No individual usurps the law. Nobody usurps the law. But there's a culture within law enforcement known as that thin blue line. Blue blood is thicker than any blood. And so that is why they did what they did. They would protect their own regardless if they're right, wrong, or indifferent. They will do that. They will protect each other. They will lie for each other. They go in and they fill out police reports where they lie about it. So in what we all saw was an example of what common sense tells you. As you stated, their oath is to serve and to protect. And so we saw these guys stand back and say, no, if this is what one of our brethren is going to do, we are going to back him, even if it is wrong. And in this case, that wrong was the ultimate wrong because it caused the death of an individual. So should they be found guilty? Without question, they should be found guilty. Because trust and believe, Ben, we all know if you are riding in a car, if you, I, and the DJ are all in the car, and I have some illegal drugs in my possession and y'all with me, y'all going down too. Everybody understands that. So this was an example of what we have seen time and time and time again. This is why, even in the case of us wanting to get more minority officers into law enforcement that they can bring about an understanding. But when they come in, they forget their blackness, they forget their ethnicity, and instead adopt that code of the blue line that we will protect. That blue blood is thicker than any blood. And so they simply sat back and allowed one of their brethren to commit a heinous crime, and they backed him. And they should be held responsible, no different than William Bryant was held responsible in the Ahmaud Arbery case. He too was found guilty and held accountable. These 3 should be held accountable as well.
Here's the note from Georgia letting us know that she wasn't going to be able to be here this morning. She said, my name just got pulled to be in the federal court today. Apparently, the journalist who was supposed to be in today got COVID. And so she'll sit in for that journalist. She won't be able to make it, obviously, because, travel time. And obviously, that takes precedent. Georgia was one of the 2 journalists in the Derek Chauvin trial. The names are coming back to me. He is the officer who was found guilty of murder of George Floyd. And now the federal charges. The interesting thing is like, this guy, it seems like Derek Chauvin is going to turn state. So that blue loyalty, that thin blue line loyalty only goes so far. It goes far enough, though, Brother Mac, to hurt and harm and devastate every part of the black community and marginalized communities. But when the rubber meets the road, they turn on themselves.
Well, Ben, just as we named Derek Chauvin, and again, inside your calendar, Black Heritage Day, right? Inside there, on the picture, on the page with George Floyd, let us name these 3 officers that are now being held accountable. J. Alexander Kueng, Thomas Lane, and Tou Thao. These are the other 3 officers who sat back and watched this man's life be taken by the criminal act of one of their own, Derek Chauvin.
That's
and again, this is where that blue line, that culture of protecting at all cost, yielded one of the most devastating results that this country has seen and this country reacted to. Because again, the death of George Floyd, and we got to remember, when we heard those final words, those words from him, "I can't breathe." Well, just go back and remember that we first heard those words from a man named Eric Garner in New York City when he said he couldn't breathe. But why is it? And we watched Brother Garner's life be taken from him in the same tragic manner, yet those officers were not held accountable for it. So in the case of George Floyd, this was the straw that broke the camel's back. So just like that officer should have been held accountable, all of the officers around him should have been held accountable in the death of Eric Garner. But this is where this is how deeply rooted that blue line is within law enforcement. That's right. That they will protect their own and trust and believe. And I'll say this, Ben, as a last. When these deaths occur, millions and millions of dollars are paid out to families. Those millions and millions of dollars, you know where they come from? They don't come from the police department. They come from tax-paying citizens, us.
That's right.
So I can tell you one way that I believe that you can clean this up. See, the best way to clean up law enforcement is for it to happen within. And the one motivation we need to give them to clean it up from within, instead of these tax-paying dollars, these payouts and civil lawsuits coming from the taxpayers, let them come from the police pension funds. I guarantee you that if you and I, Ben, are law enforcement officers, and I'm out there doing some recklessness, craziness, and it's going to affect your pension, you will be the first one to slap me upside the head and be like, "Look, brother, you better get right because you're messing with my pension right now with that foolishness." So we need to take this from these lawsuits being paid from taxpayers and let them be paid from the pension funds of police. I guarantee you we'll begin to see reform take place in a quick and in a hurry.
That is an elegant solution. A matter of fact, I don't know why cities are. I have an idea why cities aren't doing that already. As much as I am a union man, one union that I don't dig are police unions. Police unions are not regular unions in the sense that they are definitely not there. If police are not there to protect and serve, and that's kind of arguable. You might have good police in your neighborhood over there, but that's arguable. But one group that's not here to help you at all, and that's the police unions. And I would say those are the pressures that are on the city by city level that is keeping cities from doing something sensible like that, Brother Matt, because that just makes too much sense what you said. Why is it that taxpayers have to foot the bill for bad cops when bad cops don't even have to foot the bill for bad cops?
Exactly. Not only do we foot the bill for them, but we also foot the bill probably in their lawsuits, when they have to be represented. So trust and believe, one of the solutions, I get the body cam, I get all the things that we're talking about. But as we always say, when you want to understand the crime, follow the money. That's right. Make them financially liable for the lawsuits that have to be paid out for the nonsense, the inhumanity, the violation of their oath. Make them financially responsible. And I guarantee you that the cleanup, the police reform that we so long have been screaming, it will take place because they will begin to do that. Because like I said, Ben, if you know that my foolishness is going to affect your bottom line, your pension, I'm not going to have to worry about the courts getting me right. My partner, Ben Dixon, is going to be the first one to put that 2x4 up against my head to the white meat and say, "Brother, you better get right because you're messing with my family's money and my retirement, and we ain't going to have that."